What's up, you guys? It's Simon with Simon Says Finance, where on my channel I hope to share with you some key financial topics so it can help you become more knowledgeable and confident in handling your personal finances. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing part 2 of today's series of Mythbusters Credit Card Edition. So there's a stigma with credit cards that they should only be used this way, or that they are bad and should never be used. And more often than not, these myths come from partial truths or half-truths and usually only take into account a very specific situation and not the big picture of what credit cards can be used for. With this video, I'm going to be continuing with the Mythbusters Credit Card Edition with myths number 8 through 15. By the end of this video, I hope you see a different side of how credit cards can be used or should be used. That way it could prevent you from falling victim from one of these half-truths or partial truths. With all that said, let's get started with myth number 8 of that you should cancel all credit card accounts that you're not using. With this belief, it often comes with the idea that you should only have one credit card because any more than that is going to bring down your score, or the fact that you should only have one credit card because you should always have money ready and never have to use a credit card. But the reality is, if you cancel or close a credit card account, not only do you use an account on your history, but you also lose all the history that was on that account, as well as the credit limit on there, which is going to bring your utilization down. If you look at this chart, credit utilization, payment history, and number of accounts all make up your credit score. If you close your old accounts, your utilization will have a higher percentage since you no longer have access to that credit. Your average age of accounts will go down since you lose that history. And you'll lose an account, which will in total lower your credit score. So if you have many credit cards and they don't cost you anything because they all have a $0 annual fee, my advice really is to just keep them open. That way you can maintain that credit history on you and keep that credit limit to help boost your utilization ratio. And if you want to prevent yourself from maybe using them for splurging, just hide them in a safe somewhere so they're not anywhere where you can actually use them for spending. Myth number 9 is actually the opposite of number 8, which is you should never cancel your credit card accounts. So the belief here is that you should always keep your accounts open. That way you can maintain your credit history. But the reality is that there's credit cards out there that have a high annual fee that maybe at one point they did make sense in your life in the way that you're living at one point, but maybe now it doesn't, and now the annual fee you're just paying and you're not using any of the perks. For example, let's take the American Express Platinum card, which has a $5.50 annual fee. Although it provides a $200 travel credit, about a total of $200 in Uber credit annually, and free access to airport lounge, which costs more than $1,000 for that kind of membership. If you aren't a person that really travels often, it may not make sense for you to continually pay that annual fee of $5.50 in order to keep that card open, just to maintain your history. And in this case, say you don't travel as much, maybe you want to consider something instead, such as the American Express Blue Card. And right now, as of November of 2019, they're offering a sign-up bonus of $150 cash back after spending $1,000 within 3 months, and 3% cash back on supermarkets, 2% at gas stations, and 1% at all other purchases. The key thing here is that it's all for a $0 annual fee. Now you have to weigh this cost of maintaining your credit card history with the cost of keeping this account open and paying that annual fee. Now if your credit card is free and has a $0 annual fee, I pretty much will always keep that card open. That way you can maintain that history to help boost your credit score. But if you're one of those people that has a credit card that's a high annual fee and those credit card perks don't really benefit your life anymore, maybe you don't travel as much as you used to, you might want to consider canceling. That way you can save that money on that annual fee. Now me personally, I only have credit cards that have no annual fee. Reason for that is that way I never feel pressure to keep an account open that I don't want, and also so I can keep that credit card history on my report long term and I don't have to pay for anything for that. Another reason is I personally don't travel enough to really get the full benefit of having one of those high annual fee credit cards. So that's another reason why I choose not to have a card with a high annual fee. But if you are one of those people that have a credit card that has a high annual fee, it really is up to you to determine if your lifestyle kind of justifies keeping that credit card open or closing it. But at the end of the day, it's always your decision and your lifestyle that justifies if a high annual fee credit card is worth it or not. Myth number 10, credit card terms are non-negotiable. The belief here is that credit card companies are black and white and whatever they have listed on their terms and conditions page is final. The reality is that credit card companies are in a market that's very competitive and they're willing to go out of their way to get new customers and to win your business. So if you're a person that has a good credit score, or if you've been with a company for an extended period of time, you might want to consider giving them a call and seeing what you can negotiate that's going to help benefit your personal situation the best. For example, if you're a person that always keeps a balance on your credit card, it's probably going to benefit you the most to try to give them a call and see if you can negotiate a lower interest rate. That way you're not paying as much interest over time. Or if you're a person that has a credit card that has an annual fee, it's probably going to be the most worth it for you if you give them a call and see if they're willing to waive that annual fee for another year. And many people don't believe this is actually possible, but I've actually negotiated a lower interest rate, as well. I've had many friends that have actually successfully negotiated a lower interest rate. I've also have a buddy that actually gave him a call, and whenever he applied for a new credit card, you know, when they give those, like, say 15 months of no interest rate, if you apply for this credit card, he actually was able to increase that term for an extra 3 months and added 3 extra months of no interest. Worst case scenario, they're just going to say no, right? So it never really hurts to give them a call and see what kind of terms they're willing to negotiate with to keep your business. That way they can keep you as a customer, and also so that you can save a lot of money in the future. Myth number 11 is use a debit card or a credit card because they're practically the same thing and they both affect your credit score the same way. The belief here is that since a debit card and credit card both look very similar, they both have a plastic coating, for example, numbers on the front and maybe a MasterCard or a Visa logo on there. And if you go to a retail store and you swipe, you're going to use the same machine that for a debit card or a credit card. So they should both affect, theoretically, your credit score the same. The reality is that a debit card will not increase your credit score because it doesn't maintain any credit history, and thus it's not going to go into your credit score. But a credit card will, and that's going to actually improve your score if utilized correctly. Another reason why you should use a credit card instead of a debit card is because a debit card is not going to give you any protection against unauthorized charges. With a credit card, they have fraud protection services attached to the credit card, so any unauthorized charges, all you have to do is give them a call and they're pretty much going to take it off and issue you a new card. In addition, the other reason you want to use a credit card instead of a debit card is because a credit card gives you an additional layer of protection, and it gives pretty much a barrier from the purchase to your personal funds, while a debit card, it gives pretty much whoever gets access to that debit card information direct access to your personal funds. So if any time someone steals your information, they're going to potentially take all your money from your bank account. While with a credit card, they have an extra layer they have to go through, and if you catch it soon enough, you can pretty much just give them a call. They're going to take off that unauthorized charge, and everything's going to be okay. In addition, 99% of all debit cards don't really give you any bonus points or any kind of rewards for their use. But we all know that a credit card gives you bonus points, travel rewards, and oftentimes membership rewards if you use them correctly. So yes, although a debit card and credit card do look the same, their benefits to you and your lifestyle and your credit score are not. Myth number 12 is that if you get declined from a credit card company after you applied, that decision is final. The belief here is that all credit card companies' decisions are final and that the credit card company is too big to be negotiating with individuals. The reality is that, like I've said before, credit card companies are in a very competitive market and they're always trying to go out and get new customers. So if you applied for a credit card company online and got denied, it might be worth it for you to give them a call back and see why they denied you, as also because it might be a system malfunction. So if you applied for a credit card online and got denied, it's probably worth it for you to give them a call and see if they can reconsider you, because maybe it was a fault on their system as to why you got denied. This actually happened to me recently, where I applied for a new credit card and actually got denied on their online system. Then I gave them a call and I renegotiated, and they actually approved me, overrode that decision, gave me a new card, and everything was good. Because like I said before, maybe their system had a malfunction, or another more common reason is maybe that the few questions that they ask you on their online application doesn't really ask enough questions to get the full picture of your total financial situation. For example, what if you got denied for a low income, but they don't know that the fact that you just got a new job offer or a raise, for example. But if you give them a call back and tell them what's going on, that you are awaiting or anticipating a new job or a raise, and you actually have proof with maybe a letter from that employer and you send it to them, they probably will take that into consideration and probably will approve your application and get you that new credit card. And these kind of situations can't be really taken into account on an online application when they only ask you, like, say 5 questions, like your current income, your current net worth, and maybe a rough estimate of what your credit score is right now. And so sometimes it's actually worth it for you to give them a call if you do get declined. That way they can get a better understanding of where you're at and where you're going in the future. So remember, no decision is really final. If you do get declined online on their online application, consider giving them a call and just explaining your financial situation a little better to them. That way you have a full grasp of where you are now and also where you're going, and they might actually override that decision and give you a new credit card. Myth number 13 is I can't get a credit card until I'm 18, so I can't build my credit score until then. The belief here is that you have to legally wait till you're 18 in order to get a credit card, so there's no point in worrying about building history until then. The reality is that this is not totally inaccurate, but it's also not the whole truth either. From current credit card laws, the minimum age you can actually get a credit card without help is actually 18. However, it's still legally possible to get a credit card and start building credit history before 18 if you become an authorized user. If you've seen some of my past videos, you know that I've gone into great detail about this technique and how you can utilize it to help boost your credit score fast, or if you're very young, how to get ahead of the game with your credit score. If you want a very detailed explanation of how this works, you want to watch my video, how to increase your credit score 200 points in 1 month. But big picture, how this works is you're going to go ask somebody that you trust, maybe a parent or grandparent, and that has good credit history and has a credit card with extensive history on it, and ask if you could become an authorized user on that account. And what they're going to do is they're going to issue you a specific credit card, and what that's going to benefit you is that it's going to give you all that history that's attached to that account is now going to be also put on your name, which is going to help boost your credit score. So no, you don't have to wait till you're 18 to get a credit card as long as you become an authorized user on someone else's account. And the reason that you actually want to do this that way so you can start building history faster, quicker, and that way when you actually turn 18 and you say you move out of your house or you go to college or you want to apply for a car or a house or anything, you actually have the credit score required already, so you're ahead of all your peers that are 18 that are just getting their first credit card. Myth number 14 is never use your credit card online because it's unsafe. The belief here is that many people think that if you go online and you start using your credit card, it's unsafe because somebody could get a hold of those information on that credit card and start making unauthorized charges. So yes, the internet can be a dangerous place if you go and purchase things on a website that you're not familiar with a credit card or a debit card, because you don't know if that website is known for fraudulent activity. But we are becoming more and more of a society that makes all of our purchases online as opposed to a physical store, and sometimes the item that you want is not necessarily at Amazon or another known website that you feel comfortable with purchasing. So if you have to make purchases online, you do want to use something that's going to give you some kind of layer of protection. And for that reason, when purchasing things online, I always recommend using a credit card as opposed to a debit card. The reason being is, like I've mentioned before, credit cards have a fraudulent protection on them. So if you go online and start making purchases on a website that maybe you're not familiar with and you start seeing unauthorized charges, all you have to do is give that credit card company a call when you see it and they're going to take them off. But if you did that with the debit card, you might not get the same results. And not only are you not getting the same results if you use a debit card, you're also giving that pretty much that criminal that took your information direct access to your personal funds. And you definitely do not want to do that, especially when working online. So if you are buying something online, especially at a website that you're not familiar with, I highly recommend using a credit card instead of a debit card. That way you have an extra layer of protection between the purchase and your bank account. Myth number 15 is once you get that new credit card and that new sign-up bonus, you never have to utilize that credit card again if you don't want to. The belief here is that if you get a new credit card and say you get those sign-up bonus points, and after that you just decide you don't want to use it anymore because you have another credit card that gives you more points, that there's going to be no implications if you just pretty much forget about the first credit card. The truth is that many credit card companies keep tabs on how often you use their credit card. So if you don't use it for an extended period of time, they might send you a letter in the mail to lower your credit limit because you're not going to utilize it, or they might actually cancel the account altogether. A personal example I've had with this was with the Home Depot credit card that I didn't use for over 2 years because I had a different credit card at the time that gave me more points. And because I didn't use the Home Depot credit card for over 2 years, I actually got a letter in the mail from Home Depot saying that they would actually lower my credit limit within the next 30 days if I didn't make a purchase. So when I got that letter, I pretty much got that Home Depot credit card, went to the nearest store or somewhere that I was going to go anyways, and bought just a water with that credit card. And what that did was that it returned my credit limit to where it was supposed to be, kept my account open, and it maintained my credit score altogether. So ever since then, I realized how important it is to actually use all your credit cards. So it's important to use them, probably cycle them every 6 months. I like to personally cycle them every 6 months, especially the ones that say I don't necessarily like or don't really give me any points. I probably just make just one purchase on them every 6 months. That way I can keep that credit card open because I'm showing that I'm actually using it, and it keeps my credit limit high, and thus my credit score is maintained. Myth number 16 is paying an annual fee on a credit card is a waste of money. The belief here is that paying an annual fee is like throwing away money because you're just giving money for the credit card company so they can profit. The truth is that this is situation dependent based on your lifestyle. If you're a person that has a credit card with a high annual fee and say it gives perks based on travel, but you're not a person that actually travels at all, so you never really get to utilize it, then I would argue that it doesn't really make sense for you to be paying for a service that you don't really get to use. On the flip side, if you're a person that travels often, and even though that credit card has a high annual fee, if it gives all these perks that benefits your lifestyle and it pretty much outweighs what the annual fee is, then in that situation in particular, then having a credit card with an annual fee does make sense in your particular situation. Like I've discussed before, there's credit cards that have high annual fees such as American Express, Platinum, or the Chase Sapphire Reserve that are really good for people that utilize them for the way that they're intended to be used. Because these cards are particularly made to help benefit people that travel. And I have friends that both have these credit cards that some of them do travel and some of them don't. The ones that don't travel, I would say they're kind of maybe just paying a high annual fee for no reason. But for those that do travel, I know a lot of times all the membership perks that they provide from these credit cards, they outweigh the cost of the annual fee. So the ones that do travel, it actually makes sense for them to actually pay this annual fee every year. Really, like I said before, it's dependent on your financial situation and your financial lifestyle if keeping a credit card with a high annual fee is actually worth it to you. Well, that's it for this section of Mythbusters Credit Card Edition. Now, I know there's many myths out there or bro tips on how and how not to use a credit card. So make sure if you have any questions or if you heard something in your personal life that was not mentioned in this video, make sure to comment down below and so that we all can read about it. It'd be kind of fun to see what other people are saying about credit cards and what other myths are out there that we haven't really heard about. And if you haven't seen my other part on Mythbusters Credit Card Edition, make sure to check that video out after this.
Okay!
Overall, I hope you learned something from this video. I know myself personally, fell victim to a couple of these myths when I was younger, when I first started with credit cards. But now that you've seen this video, you'll be better equipped to help make sure that you're not blindsided from something that maybe a neighbor or a friend told you about how credit cards should be used. And if you liked what you saw here today, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. We're going to be putting out content every week. And comment down below if you had any experiences with any of these myths or actually some myths that we haven't mentioned yet so that we can all be aware of what people are saying out there. Also in the description, I'll be putting various credit card links for things that I've used and I recommend to family, as well as some books and websites that I think you're going to like. But anyways, until next time, Simon says do as I say and have a great day. Thank you.